morning, good afternoon and good evening. You are watching the Paris Fintech Forum Communities video interview series. I'm Elliott Gotkine and today I'm joined by the Chief Digital Officer of bpifrance, Matthieu Heslouin. Great to have you with us.
Hello Elliott, great to have this chat with you this afternoon.
Lovely. Okay, so before we get cracking, let's learn a little bit more about bpifrance. So, Matthieu, we spoke with your CEO about a year ago. So rather than just kind of repeat what we discussed last time, maybe just give us a very, very brief reminder of what it is that bpifrance does and perhaps what's changed over the past 12 months.
With pleasure. So bpifrance is a French public investment bank. And our main mission is to support the French economy by financing and investing in French private companies, from the startup state to very large companies in France. A lot of things happens, especially we are completely now devoted to the climate cause, and we are routing a lot of investment and financements towards all the companies that are really making efforts toward the climate. This is really key for the next decade.
Okay, but you know, obviously, we'll try and focus on fintech. Obviously, you don't just invest in fintech businesses or loans to fintechs, but in terms of the fintech space, I suppose sometimes I think your CEO or bpifrance describes itself as a bit of a fintech. Can you maybe just give us some facts and figures in terms of funding, loans, investments, and perhaps some of the standout successes that you have helped create?
We are, during these last 10 years, we have drastically increased our amount of investment in the French startup companies, and especially in fintechs, because it has become, not this year, but the year before, really the first investment sector in the innovation sector for France. So we did at least 20 investment in French companies in the fintech side, but we are invested also in many funds investing in fintechs. So at the end, we are supporting more than 500 fintechs in France, directly and indirectly.
Okay, and I understand that obviously you're focused on France, but perhaps you have some plans for expanding overseas?
Obviously, our large fintechs are operating overseas. Okay, so we have and also in other sectors. So we have a lot of international companies in our portfolios. And we also, through what we call the fund of funds activity, we are investing in international funds in the US, in Asia, and in other countries.
Okay, so we've heard a bit about bpifrance. Let's now get to know Matthieu a little bit better. So Matthieu, I think you yourself are, or at least started off as an entrepreneur. You founded several startups. I guess it wasn't for an easy life that you went to work for bpifrance or in the corporate sector, but why the change, and how do you see things kind of now with more perspective? Is it harder being an entrepreneur than kind of helping entrepreneurs, and which do you prefer?
I prefer when you have large impact on what you do. So I started my working life with large US companies in the technology sector, very large companies such as Dell and Silicon Graphics. I work in the Valley, and then I decided to create my own companies, becoming an entrepreneur. I founded 3 companies with different fortunes. My last startup, it was a failure at the end. But I learned a lot from all this experience, and it happens that I was also an advisor for different companies and medium large companies on the digital side, you know, and I came across bpifrance because they wanted me to add then just working on the digital journey of bpifrance. And this was a perfect time where I said, well, I can have impact in this company, which is supporting all the startup sector, which has supported my startups. And I believe I could have a great play in at bpifrance. So I was really pleased to join the company in 2017 and join Nicolas Dufourcq and Arnaud Codou, who hired me. And since then, believe me, with all this entrepreneur experience, I could have impact and change a company on the digital leverage and how what we could do on the business side for investors, for bankers in the house, and for all the partners in entrepreneurs in France that are now using the digital services of bpifrance. And my team built them, and it was also very rewardful. And I feel I got some freedom from Nicolas' side and Arnaud's side, but just to really build my team and build those services. And so far, this has been a very, very great journey.
Wonderful, and it never ceases to amaze me the kind of double lives that some executives, C-suite executives at fintechs and banks kind of have. We spoke with your CEO. I think he had an interesting sideline, I think, as a musician or something, if I recall correctly. You are a rock and roller and a triathlete. Tell us more about that.
Well, this is my hobbies, and I love music. So since I'm young, and I play in a rock and roll band. So I will do a show in a few weeks, and this is part of my private life. It's really separate, but it's a lot of energy, and it's so fantastic to play in a band. And on the other side, well, I've always practiced a lot of sports. I believe when you are an entrepreneur or what you're leading transformation, you need to have a great level of energy, and this energy sometimes you really need to you need this energy to go out, and not in the job, but sports is perfect for that.
If you weren't Chief Digital Officer at bpifrance, perhaps you would do one of those things professionally, being a rock singer or an athlete?
No, I'm not in-house talent just for that, but probably I would build another company or something like that.
Okay, and just to correct myself, I was just double checking that I think your CEO's grandfather was a musicologist and an organist. He himself was is a mountain climber and desert tracker. So just make sure I get your CEO's hobbies correct. So okay, so I think we've learned now quite enough about Matthieu, because of course a key part of this interview is to get your take on the future of finance. But first, we're going to take a very quick break, after which we're going to continue our conversation with the Chief Digital Officer of bpifrance, Matthieu Heslouin. Welcome back, and don't forget, if you're not already a member of our community, everything you need to join can be found at www.parisfintechforum.com. And now, Matthieu, let's talk about the future of finance. So, Matthieu, when I spoke with your CEO last time round, I think I was asking him how BPI France was preparing for what JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon then described as the incoming economic hurricane. That hurricane doesn't seem to have materialized. So what scenarios should BPI, France, banks, investors, fintechs, entrepreneurs, what should they be preparing for right now, assuming it's not all plain sailing from here?
We all observe that the interest rate have risen. Okay, this means that the cost of capital is now increasing, and this is really important for all the technology sector. Okay, because it means that you will need to pick up the right model and the right companies to invest in, probably more than in the past. This is very important, and so the selection would be harder in the future. On the other side, what we see is that we have, I say, the next generation of digital powered by AI. So this means that now we have a very strong engine just to revamp a lot of processes and look for efficiency inside banks and insurance, and this is very, very interesting spot, because banks and insurance are spending billions in IT every year, but it's very, very big. It's a hundred of billions if you sum up, and this is every year. So this means that fintechs providing services that are working on the global efficiency of the finance sector, they have really nice future. This is no worry to have on this. On the other side, what is complex is regulation. So all the fintechs that are submitted to regulation, well, and now with the cost of capital, and it's difficult to move toward a profitable business on a large size, and a customer base, large customer base enough to support the cost of being compliant with the regulation. So it will be difficult for those fintechs because the business model will be more complex, and the capital will not flow in as it was floating in the past.
Well, I'm glad, Matthieu, that you mentioned artificial intelligence. I was going to ask you about that a little bit later, but I'll ask you about it now. I mean, how excited should fintech entrepreneurs and customers be about artificial intelligence? And perhaps maybe there is that flip side that actually, because it will make things more complex and more expensive, maybe it's going to just simply play into the hands of the larger tech and fintech companies and financial organizations to the detriment of those upstart fintechs.
Well, for me, it's a fantastic play for fintechs because on the financial sector, the heart of the financial sector is data. Okay, everything is about data in bank and insurance. So being able to leverage this data using large LLM or new algorithm or open source model to be able to build new data services based on that, improve processes. It's just like, it's magical, it's magical. So, but it means that you need to hire talents and have the right skills to do some scripts, some prompts, and train on those models. So it's part of the game now. It will go very quick. So every new fintech and the formula need to grab this play. The sooner the better.
And just more broadly speaking, I mean, we've talked about smaller, newer fintechs. We've seen obviously a a huge drop in valuations over the past few years, AI companies notwithstanding, kind of across the startup board, perhaps even more so though with fintechs. Do you get a sense, since you lend money to fintechs and you also invest in fintechs, do you get a sense that valuations have now bottomed out, or is there still further to fall?
Well, the market will answer to that, Elliott. I'm sorry.
You're part of the market.
Yes, we are part, but we are one actor, the largest actor in France, but still we are not making the market. Well, we feel that valuation have bottomed up now. It's for good because it was completely not reasonable in the past. You know, we were. And it was bad for entrepreneurs because if it's good at first because you get a great valuation one time, but to be able to execute, then to create values at the level of your valuation is completely crazy. And so this is a trap where a lot of companies, not only on the fintechs, a lot of startups are now involved. I believe it will get more safe in the future, and all will start again. You know, I'm not afraid of that. I've seen different cycle in the Silicon Valley in 2000, in 2010, in 2020. So no worry about that because innovation will create new value and probably faster than before, and this will go up again.
And I suppose at the same time, it's probably a good time to be investing in fintechs. I think better than it was a couple of years ago, in the sense that you're getting much more bang for your buck, and perhaps we're also seeing and we'll see more mergers and acquisitions happening as these kind of smaller fintechs join forces or get swallowed up in order to survive.
Exactly, we will see some build up. We'll see some partnership becoming merge between companies. It's an interesting period to see all those move. Even the banks or the insurance company can be interested by acquisition now that the valuation are lower, because before it was not making any sense in terms of capex for those companies, and as are really capex focused. Well, it was crazy. So at the end, it was a blind game. Now it's interesting.
And I suppose one of the subsectors of fintech that was the most hyped up was that of digital assets. That there's far less hype around digital assets these days, and in fact, a lot of projects that were started amid all the hype were quietly forgotten about or shelved. Is this still an area that gets you excited and that is one to watch for the future?
Absolutely. And with my deputy CEO, we'll be in New York next week just to meet with large player on the field. Well, we don't say that digital assets are dead. I believe that it's really important for the efficiency of the financial sector, because it enables really to do quicker transaction with low cost at the blockchain level, with also stable coins. So I believe that the speculation is now coming down, has really stopped. But the technology is there, and real use case will continue to emerge. So, but now it's same. It's more reasonable. It's and we'll see application inside the financial sector still growing up in the future. So we believe it's important not to turn out from this sector.
Okay, so look, Matthieu, it's time now for our round of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Great. So I've got 90 seconds on the clock. I'm going to ask you as many questions as I can in 90 seconds. If you can just give me one word answers, then we can get through even more questions. So away we go. What fintech segment has the biggest potential over the next 5 years?
Insurtech.
What is the biggest pain point in your everyday financial life that you would like to see resolved?
Data quality.
Are we at the beginning, middle or end of the fintech wave?
Middle wave.
Do you have a metaverse strategy?
No.
Do you think regulators in the EU and the US have kept pace with all the new possibilities and behaviors we're seeing in the financial industry?
No.
How would you describe non-fungible tokens, NFTs? A scam, B, an interesting concept, or C, part of the future that we don't want to miss out on?
Interesting concept.
Have you ever personally invested in crypto?
Small investment.
Are physical points of sales part of the future of finance?
AI.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the least likely, 10 is the most likely, how do you rate the chances that in the next 10 years, one of the neobanks will be as profitable as a top-tier legacy bank?
0.
That CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, will become a mainstream reality in the US or the EU?
EU, because I'm French.
No, sorry, how out of 10? How likely?
How likely? 6.
Okay, 6 out of 10. I don't know if you heard it, but we are out of time now for our round of rapid fire questions and for our conversation. So I really just want to thank you, Chief Digital Officer at bpifrance, Matthieu Heslouin, for taking the time to speak with me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elliott. Bye-bye.
And for everyone watching, we will be back again next time with another big name from the world of finance and technology. We do hope you'll be able to join us again then. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the Paris Fintech Forum YouTube channel and to follow us on Twitter, or now known as X. That's at Paris Fin Forum. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.